So in this game of life, there's a move that you can make. And if you make that move, it'll make everything that you're struggling with much easier. And so to make this example clear is imagine we're playing a game of chess, me and you. And imagine I'm losing this game. Why am I losing this game? Because there's a move on the chessboard that I do not see. And if I see that move, I can then make that move and it will make the game a whole lot easier, straightforward, and I can end up winning. And so, much like the game of chess, this very much so applies to the game of life that we're living. So if you're struggling with anything, and if you've been trying super hard to overcome a specific obstacle, a specific situation, there's something that you don't see on the game of life, on the board, all your moves. There's something that you're not seeing. There's a move that you can make that'll make everything easier for you and your situation. But the key is knowing and discovering what that move is. Because a lot of us, we don't know what that next move is. We don't know what that move is that's going to pull us out of struggling. We've been struggling and suffering for so long trying to overcome a specific obstacle that we're kind of lost for moves, and it comes down to, we're just going to keep doing the same things because we don't know what else to try. We don't know what other move to make. And so that was me for the longest period of time. When I suffered through chronic pain for 15 years, it was like I was struggling and suffering to overcome that, trying everything. Yet I would still struggle and still be in pain. But once I really got into the root cause of that pain, which was the nervous system, trapped emotions, then releasing that pain only took months' time after I'd had it for 15 years. And the same as it applied to the situations that I dealt with, which I think are honestly one of the most difficult, is searching for love outside of myself. Attracting those relationships that are either toxic or not for me. And so realizing those situations, I was trapped and I was in the same loop because I was making the same type of moves. And so when you make the same type of moves, you're going to end up on the same type of path. You're going to end up on the same type of destination. And so I had to try something different. And for those, specifically when it comes to searching for love externally, was healing the inner child. Because I was looking for that woman to save me, or that friend to save me, and to give me that love and validation that I was so deeply looking for that I couldn't find. Because we search for whatever we can't find within ourselves. And so, just like if somebody's extremely thirsty, they're going to go search for water, or they're extremely hungry, they're going to search for food. So somebody doesn't have love and affection, a base desire much like that of food and water, they're going to search for that in their external environment. And so I kept searching for love much like I did for food. If I find it externally, then it's going to satisfy that hunger. And so that specific move that I was making, it was constantly banging my head on the wall, trying the same things, expecting a different outcome. oh, there's going to be that new partner, or there's going to be that new friend that's truly going to give me that love. But no, I had to find it within. And the route to doing that was healing the inner child. That's another example. Let me think of another one. Anxiety. A lovely one. Something that seems impossible to overcome. You're in the thick of anxiety and you're struggling. You seem like you're gasping for breath. You're always thinking of different possibilities. Overthinking, just struggling. Not being able to live in the present moment and be calm. Because you're just struggling internally. I suffered with anxiety for years. And I kept trying the same different things to overcome it. Yet I would still find myself struggling with it. But how are you supposed to get a new outcome if we keep doing the same moves? But when I was down in the trenches and I was struggling with it, I thought doing something was better than doing nothing, which is inherently true. But if we're not making the right moves, it doesn't matter how many moves we make. We're never going to end up in the right direction, and we're not going to end up at the right destination. And so breathwork was a big one for me for anxiety. And once I started learning breathwork, it was only a couple of months, so my anxiety was completely gone. Same thing with depression. Something that's deeply tied to the nervous system, built up emotions, and so something that can easily be released through breathwork, releasing trauma, doing somatic-based movements, things that actually heal, rather than just treating the symptoms, which most people do. And they wonder why they can't find relief. But if we come back to this principle, which I found to be true, there's a move that we don't see, that if we make that move, everything will become easier. This is especially seen in the case of the last testimonial that I posted of Jennifer. And she was struggling for years, ever since she was a child, with anxiety. And there's a lot of different root causes behind anxiety. But once you truly know how the body works, how the emotions work, it becomes fairly straightforward to deal with. And within the less than 2 months' time, a whole lifetime, anxiety went from 10 out of 10 to 0 out of 10. She was age 32. And she had anxiety for as long as she could remember, from grade school. So this is just like a case in point, where she had tried everything, medications, therapies, doctors, retreats, yet she still struggled. So, at the end of the day, we have an infinite number of moves that we can make. And if we're not making the right moves, we're not going to get to where we want to go. And that's why people work with me, is because I've lived through this experience and I've guided so many people to break free of their struggles, mentally or physically, any condition. Because we don't have to struggle to overcome anything in our life. Because if we're struggling, there's something that we don't see. And once we finally see it, the solution becomes very straightforward. And the progression is extremely rapid. And that's what most people don't realize. And that's why it's so key to become more connected to yourself, to your inner self, your true voice, your intuition, because that's going to guide you. You don't necessarily need somebody like me. It might lessen the amount of suffering that you need to partake and take on in your life. You know, somebody that's gone through the same pitfalls and situations that can foresee upcoming challenges. But this is something that you can tap into yourself, into your own intuition, because that's what I had to do. I had to tap into my own intuition and let it guide me to figure out, okay, how do I solve this chronic pain that I've had for 16 years? How do I solve this anxiety and depression? How do I solve this inability to focus? And so all that came through inner guidance, you know, and that led me to start studying specific topics about the body, the nervous system, trauma, emotions, all different types of topics to figure out, okay, this is the thing that works, and these are the things that don't work. Here's what I'm gonna do that works, that I know that works because I feel that it works and I've experienced it work, that it's working. And I'm rejecting the things that don't work because I've tried them. And so I had to go all through those moves to figure out which one worked. And over that course of the 6 years, I developed a system that I now use to help other people. And so if you're struggling in any form, know that there's a solution to it. And it's just not for no reason that you're struggling or suffering. There's obviously a lesson. And so one of the key foundations that I have in life as well is we will repeat the same things in our life until we learn from that situation. So we'll keep making those same moves and we'll keep banging our head against the wall looking for a solution where there might not even be one in the way that we're looking or the way that we're thinking the solution might be. And so people will repeat it. And this is something that happened with me with relationships, with anxiety, depression, the pain, all those things. I kept experiencing those things until I learned the lessons that God wanted me to learn from those specific things. And then once I learned those things, then it's like, okay, now I got the roadmap to breaking free of them. And so just know, whatever you're going through and whatever you're consistently experiencing, there's probably something there that you don't realize. And once you do realize, you just might find the solution. And that's the essence of this inner work. It's not the easy path, but it's the right path. And usually the right path and what's difficult are usually the same thing. And so if you're experiencing something, it's time to look at what's happening and it's time to make some changes. Because most people that I see that are struggling with mental or physical conditions, it's because of their own way of thinking and their own inability to act upon what's happening to them that keeps them struggling. because they're like, I've tried everything, or I've done that, or I don't trust this. This is something new. And so that's something I see where it's just like that inability to trust, that inability to try something new keeps people stuck in that same loop. Because if that new move is what's going to break you free, but you're afraid of taking that first step and trying something new, then you're going to remain stuck for a lot longer. And just like I said, situations will repeat until you learn from them. And so until it gets so heavy in your situation and so detrimental, the struggle that you're in, you won't make a new move until it becomes so difficult that it's necessary that you try something else. And that's what happens, is most people only ask for help after they've hit rock bottom. Most people don't ask for help when they're just kind of maintaining things. When they're kind of like aware that something is going wrong. It's kind of like the check engine light is on in your car, where it's just like, oh, I'm aware of it, but you know, there's nothing really going on with my engine right now, so I'm not going to do anything about it. And so a lot of people wait till their engine explodes or they run out of oil to do something about it. But don't wait until the problem becomes so bad that that's the only point in which you're going to seek for help. Because that problem becomes so much harder to solve when you hit that rock bottom, when you've lost all hope, versus if you're just maintaining and you see that little sign of that check engine. Oh, I feel anxiety. Oh, I feel sadness. Oh, I feel pain. Or I feel this, whatever it is. Because those are signs to observe. And so if we look into those signs, we'll get some sort of solution. And so my task for you today is to look at the moves that you're making. Look at what signs your intuition, your body, your mind, the environment around you is telling you, and then heed those signs. Do something different. Don't keep doing the same, because you'll keep getting the same. And that was a struggle for me for so long. And so I don't want you to have to go through this struggle if you're listening to this. Try something different. Get a different result. Let me know what you're going to do differently in the comments. And I hope you have an extremely blessed day here. And I will see you on the next video.